Hi there, welcome back to the channel. So the last time I made a video, I was recording the drums and we did a little cleanup in the computer. But since then, I haven't made a video because I've really been practicing hard, trying to get this song together, which meant coming up here and just kind of, bashing it out. There was no reason to turn on a camera to watch somebody practice a drum part over and over again, which is basically what I had to do, memorizing the parts when the changes are, because, once again, I've got the headphones on. I'll be listening to a metronome set at 120 BPM, and I'll just be playing along with that, with the part in my head. So I had to kind of memorize the part, and I'd just written the song, so it wasn't, and I didn't know what to do with the drums yet. So it took about a week to get it really right, and hopefully I'm going to try to get a take right here and leave the camera on so that we can document, hopefully I can get through a take. We'll see what happens. I might have to come back tomorrow, who knows. But I just wanted to show you one more time what all's going on here when we're doing a drum take with the Zoom. So I've got the Zoom over here today, and this is essential for me because basically I have to be able to run the, the board like I'm in a control room, and also play the drums at the same time. So I brought the Zoom over here. I've got my 4 inputs in, and if you remember from the last video, input 1 is this large diaphragm condenser microphone. It's an AKG P2020 or P2200. I can't remember what it's called, but it's pretty good, and it sounds great on the snare. And I've got it heavily compressed with the effect bank that's in the dual mic called Big Shape. It's number 26 in dual mic. And then over here, I've got my Recorder Man setup, or Glenn Johns kind of setup, where I have equidistant. And let's just check it real quick while we're here. We're going to go here, and I'm touching the microphone, and then I'm going to move this stick without moving it to this direction. Made up the stick again, and just make sure we're got basically the same amount of distance between the two mics. And I think it's pretty right. It's hard to. This isn't a very exact system. Should probably get a measuring tape, and that would be a little more efficient. But this is quick, you just have your sticks and you go. Bass drum is unmiked on this side, but as you can see, I've got the CAD, I forgot the name of it, KVM, whatever it is. I'll put it up. That's out there, and that one sounds good. So the microphones are in place. They're in the inputs 1, 2, and 3, 4. I'm going to pan this a little, 30 to the left. I'm going to pan this to the right a little, about 30, and you can always change that later. I've got my hats down because I'm not going to do a lot of lifting of the hats on this tune. I'm just going to hold it down and go. And let me think if there's anything else I'm trying to remember. The levels look good. I might have to adjust those a little bit before I get a take, but I think everything's going to be okay. The other thing that I always do, that I've started making sure that I do, is to unplug it and use battery power. And I'll tell you why. I was pretty sure that battery power gave you some cleaner power and would make a difference. But the other night I was in here and I plugged it in because the batteries were starting to go. And when I plugged it in, I suddenly, it introduced some noise. And so I tried to figure out where the noise was coming from. And I was finally able to ascertain that the little power cable, which is this tiny thin little thing, there's not much of shielding on this thing, was laying on a mic cable. And the contact of the mic cable and the power cable was just enough to add a little zzz. It was very subtle, but it was there. And so one of the ways to get a better recording, even if you're using cheap gear like this and doing it DIY, you're not in a proper studio with an engineer who knows what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. One of the ways to get around some of that is to try to get the noise floor as low as possible. And the best way to get the noise floor as low as possible is to have clean power, for starters. And then also not plugging in things that make a bunch of nasties, And so I'm going to unplug it now so I don't forget. I usually plug it in right away whenever I'm done, just so I don't drain the batteries, because the batteries go fast in this thing. I use rechargeable NIMH batteries, and make sure if you use those, you go to the battery section, and I believe it's in Tool, and you have to set it to NIMH as opposed to alkaline, or it'll burn them even faster. So, battery power, we've got good levels here. I can check them real quick and just make sure. Levels look So we'll see what happens. I tend to get excited when I play and sometimes start hitting a lot harder than I did when I was getting my levels. So I kind of compensate for that by rolling back a little bit more and knowing that I'm going to hit a little harder once I get excited and the track gets going. Okay, so I'm going to go turn off the camera, make sure that we're getting sync sound, so when I record this, I'll be able to, play it for you, and you'll be able to hear and see it the way it sounds in here as opposed to what's coming off the camera's mic. So I'm going to try to get a take, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can do it in a couple. Sometimes this takes a while. Thanks for watching.